Hello and welcome to the Hedonistic Way at Midday show. I am Renee Mayne, and today I wanted to come in here and just share with you guys some of the cheeky little inserts that is happening in the Hedonistic Holy Human Challenge that is happening at the moment. You know, some of some of you guys will know, or maybe you don't know, that the reason why I love this work so much is because we get to make magic in the mundane moments. For such a long time we've placed all happiness and all success on everything that's outside of ourselves. And so what the hedonistic holy human is really about is it's about honoring not just and finding reverence in not just our holiness and our spirituality, but also in our humanness. And once we do that, we get to be able to really jump into and really dive into an area within ourselves and find pleasure. Um, One of the reasons why I love them so much, and a lot of people have a real dance with this word, because it means in the pursuit of pleasure. And we've been taught that that hedonism is overindulgent and it's to be shamed. And I'm really here to break down this paradigm that's been created around us actually having desires, and the fact that there's so much shame and guilt around it. you know um a lot of, if you're watching this, the chances are, like, we're in a world where we have access to the internet, we have access to all of these things. And we're really sitting in a place of privilege. A lot of the clients that I share are really from a place of privilege, in the sense where we have access to to medicine and to education, to all of these things, but yet we feel lost in our lives. And we spend so much time really wanting to get to the other side. So, all personal development, I've been in personal development for 23 years, and both, studying it and living it formally and informally. Um, and so much of it is set up for us to constantly feel like I'm not enough. I'm never enough and I'm never content. And that's something I feel really passionate about changing, because every time we feel like we have to be somewhere else other than we are, we have to get another qualification on top of what we already have. It sparks in our nervous system that we're not enough. And it's time that we change this. It's time that we break down this construct that has really been, I was saying last week in a post, it's like but we're still behind bars. And that's what it's really about. So the hedonistic holy human is about just letting it all just fall away, and really start to understand that there's nowhere to be. And we've become so good at filling our days and our time with things that try to make us feel better, and if we feel anything other than joy or happiness, then we feel like we're doing something wrong. And because it's this badge that of spirituality and personal development and happiness, that it looks a particular way, in a certain way. And it's not realistic. It's we've all lived this life where we know enough that we can avoid pain and we can avoid heartbreak. So how do we live in a way where we embrace all of it. And that's why I love the work of the intuitive dominatrix, because we get to play with pain and knowing that it's completely unavoidable in life. But suffering is optional, as that we say in the third level. So so what does that mean, like, practically? What does that actually mean? So when we create, and how we serve every day, and how we show up in our lives, it's always from a place of, I'm here and I need to get there. And this, what it does in our nervous system, it sets up what's like a trauma response, because our nervous system can't regulate, can't recognize when something is, like a survival trauma, like, abuse, or something that is, an accident, post traumatic stress disorder, things like something significant or severe or extreme, or whether it's just a quiet little, like, I'm saying no. I'm saying yes when I really want to say no. So, what it does to our system is the exact same thing. So, you think about your body, and you think about your feeling state, and you think about your nervous system. And we're so hardwired to try and bypass to, I'm feeling sad, so I need to get happy. I'm feeling pain and I really need to move into pleasure. I'm feeling poor, so I really need to move into that, into richness. So we're constantly wanting to be, I'm unhealthy, so I want to get healthy. So we're constantly moving from A to B, and it's that desire. And so in that moment, what we're doing is we're creating tension in the body, because is like, she's in fight, flight, freeze mode. But there's also fawn, and this is a term where it's got a quieter and a more insidious, um false power within us. And I really believe that this shadow that we dance with can be really self-destructive, and what it does in our body is, can be really dangerous. It's not like the loud obvious stuff that I'm talking to. It's that quiet stuff that happens under the radar. And that's why in the intuitive dominatrix internship, we spend a whole temple, and 1 week meeting and integrating and learning about the shadow of the people pleaser and the imposter and the fraud and the perfectionist and the fixer. These archetypes, these shadow archetypes are the quiet ones that can often just, subconsciously be really create havoc in our systems. So we go about breaking those down, because you think about, how every time you say yes when you really want to say no, what that does to your body. And that's huge. And wondering about, am I enough? Am I worthy enough? What will people think? So this is the work of why hedonism is so beautiful. And I was saying yesterday in day one of the challenge, is talking about why I love hedonism, and why I love particularly our Eros so friggin' much, is because that deep desire within us, that place of being able to transcend through pleasure. And for those of you who don't know what Eros is from Greek mythology, and he was the son of Aphrodite, and he's the god of love, and he transcends through pleasure. So it's like this deep, when you feel like really deeply aroused, and it's this innate feeling. So it becomes this life force that really moves through us. And we have this idea around what our eros is. So, you're overtly sexual, or you have to have multiple lovers, or you have to be in open relationships, or you have to, I don't know, whatever it is. Like, so we think about these things, but in actual fact, like, I want you to discover what your eros means for you. So what this pure, innocent, erotic love means for you. And why it's so important, I'm going to tell you right now, is because when we're in that state, of where our eros is alive in us, and that could be whether you're making a sandwich, or you're making love, or you're having a shower, or you're at your job, or you're serving, that it's just a life, it's an energy that we cultivate within us. And it's really important that we really begin to identify what that looks like for you. And so why this is so, so important is how we do one thing is how we do everything, right? Everything. So we take that and we begin to get a really honest, raw look of where are we now. So this is what we're uncovering right now, and in the Hedonistic Holy Challenge. And it's confronting, but it's also absolutely beautiful, because from there we can really go about then cultivating this beautiful space. And so when we do this, when we allow this life force to move through us, we get to make love to the moment. We get to make magic in the mundane. And all of those things, you think about whether you're making toast or making a cup of coffee, or you're dropping the kids off at school, so all that, you're doing the washing, all of these mundane things. Imagine, like, they probably, I don't know, like, what is it, like 50% of your day? Like, you're doing mundane, boring shit that you really kind of don't want to do. So if we just bring this energy into our days, like, everything comes alive. Everything, there's this like beautiful, quiet, raw, erotic, primal innocence that's alive in us, and we get to come alive. We get to fully live when we melt into the moment. And when we do that, we get to take the masks off. So when I was talking yesterday in the challenge, I was talking about how you think about when you're at that orgasmic point, right? When you're making love to self or someone else, and you're in that orgasmic state, nothing, no ego, no monkey mind can penetrate that, pardon the pun. You have pure, innocent, undiluted, unfiltered, direct access with the universal one mind. Like, in that moment, so whether you call it source or the divine or universe or the creator or the all or love or God, whatever it is, you are that in that moment, and you have a clear, unfiltered, undiluted commune with them in that moment. And that is the point. That's why this life force is so important, right? Because you think about when you're in that state, like, the masks are off. You are raw, you are vulnerable, you are exposed, you are completely open, and you are absolutely surrendered, and you don't give a fuck about what am I going to have for dinner, am I enough, am I qualified enough, am I this, like, all of those questions that we say, am I, I don't feel worthy, all of these things that we is this quiet show reel all the time. You know, am I, am I too fat? Am I too skinny? Am I healthy? Should I have this piece of chicken? Should I have this salad? I really want the steak, but I order the salad. All of these stupid things that is this constant show reel in our heads. In that orgasmic state, we are completely surrendered, and nothing can penetrate us in that time. And that is why this work is so important. That is why cultivating this feelings, energy, this frequency, and this desire, and it's coming from this internal place, this internal validation, this total acceptance of self. We get to give that in everything that we do, however we serve, however we show up, whatever we're doing in that moment. It comes from this beautiful, beautiful space. And that is why this work is so important. That is why I love hedonism so much. That is why I really want us to rewrite the story and the shame that we carry around what we want and our desires. Because it's about being absolutely congruent with how we feel and welcoming all of us as we are. And that is a beautiful thing. And taking the masks off so we can actually be of service in the world. So I ask you, is this self-indulgent? Is this overindulgent? If we believe in ourselves so fiercely and so innately, and we cultivate this beautiful energy within us where we get to surrender to this, to God or the universe, the creator, or we continue to listen to this doubt that's going on in this show reel that's in our mind. So that is why the work of that is the hedonistic piece. That is the Eros piece. Because imagine what your life looks like when you begin to dismantle this, and you awaken into your Eros. And it's something that you'll hear me say a lot is, and I say to my interns all the time, is for us to become a dominatrix in our life and a submissive to the universe. And once we do this, we inhabit heaven no matter where we're standing and what's happening around us. We get to stand in our sovereignty, and we get to be all-encompassing. My favorite quote in the Course in Miracles is, that which is all-encompassing has no opposites. This is why I love, love, love the law of polarity, because we get to dance, we get to sit in the pain, we get to honor our pain, and we get to find pleasure in that. And that can be absolutely erotic and arousing and beautiful. Instead of trying to avoid and suppress, repress, we get to welcome all of us. And you think about the ripple effect that has on our life is absolutely huge, absolutely huge. And it's really important now more than ever that we do this work and we build up this relationship with ourselves, and where we get to know our Eros, and we get to put the shame away and the guilt away, and we stop trying to, we stop judging ourselves for how we're feeling or not feeling. There's no, really changing our perception around what a good spiritual girl or boy looks like. Yeah. And we just get to be. We get to welcome all of us. Sadness is a beautiful emotion. Pain can be beautiful. Heartbreak can be beautiful. two opposing feelings. And when we allow ourselves to do that, we can hold two mutually exclusive feeling states and hold them in our hearts with absolute love and like that pure innocence. That is just, it's pure transcendence in that moment. Like, that's what it's about. We can experience multiple things instead of trying to manipulate and bark orders at the universe and, you know, trying to think that our life should look a certain way, that success looks a certain way, and for me to feel amazing or for me to be connected to God, I need to meditate for 20 hours a day, or I need to drink green juices, or I need to do this and this and no. We get to come back to self, and we get to honor how we're feeling in that moment as God, as the universe, because we're not judging our lives and how we think it should look. We don't feel like we need to be anywhere else. We're not filling our days being busy when we actually just want to be. Yeah. So have a think about how your life changes. How, you know, when you serve, how is that different? You know, so how you create, like, everything looks different, everything feels different, and it's that we're cultivating is absolutely beautiful. And I really wanted to come in and share with you guys and talk about that today. And you know, is to you know, just play with your Eros and get to know your Eros and put down the shame and what it really means to be hedonistic, holy, and human, and this work of, you know, being a dominatrix in your life and a submissive to the universe. And we get to fully come alive in that moment. And that is a friggin' beautiful thing. So if you've got any questions, just let me know. Hook me up. If there's anything that you want me to talk about or show you or expand upon, let me know, and I can do that for you. Okay, that is me, over and out. Thank you for tuning in, and I will be back next week for another transmission for the Hedonistic Way at Midday show. Bye everybody.